The greatest scoring game in NBA history has 100 points in it, and almost nobody talks about it. Meanwhile, a guy who could barely stand up became a legend for scoring less than half of that. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which single game defines each legend's entire career. And the last one on this list, it might not be the one you think. Here's the thing about best career game. It's not just about points. A guy can drop 60 in a meaningless February game against a team that doesn't care. That's not legendary. Legendary is when the stakes are the highest, the body is breaking down, and the player still delivers. Today, we're ranking 5 games from 5 different legends. Wilt, Kobe, Jordan, Robinson, LeBron. One of them played through a fever so bad doctors didn't think he could suit up. Another one clinched history in the final seconds of his career, literally. Stick around, because the last game on this list connects directly to the first one in a way you probably never noticed. March 2nd, 1962. Wilt Chamberlain scores 100 points in a single game. Let that sink in. 100. In today's NBA, a great scoring night is 50, maybe 60 on historic outlier. Wilt doubled that. He made 36 out of 63 shots. He hit 28 free throws. The game wasn't even on TV. No highlight reel exists. Here's the twist most fans miss. The game was played in Hershey, Pennsylvania, in front of just over 4,000 fans. Not Madison Square Garden, not a packed arena. It was a half-empty gym in the middle of nowhere. The most legendary scoring performance in league history almost went unnoticed in real time. That's the paradox of Wilt's career. He was so dominant, the numbers stopped feeling real to people who were watching. But raw numbers only tell half the story, because the next legend on this list scored way less than Wilt, and somehow his game might mean even more. January 22nd, 2006. Kobe drops 81 points on the Toronto Raptors. That's the 3rd highest total in NBA history. But here's what makes it different. This game happened in the modern era. Cameras everywhere, every shot broadcast live, generation of fans watching in real time, texting each other, calling their dads. Kobe scored 55 points in the second half alone. His team was down 14 points in the 3rd quarter. He didn't just pad stats in garbage time. He dragged the Lakers back into a game they were about to lose. Here's a stat that gets buried. Kobe attempted 46 shots that night. Some critics call that selfish, but ask yourself this. If you're the best scorer alive and your team is losing, whose job is it to take over? That's the argument for Kobe's game being the most watchable, legendary performance ever. You could see it happen, shot by shot, in real time. Wilt gave us a number, Kobe gave us a movie. But neither one of them played through actual physical pain during those games. The next guy did. Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals. Michael Jordan wakes up violently ill. Fever, dehydration, barely even able to stand. Doctors reportedly didn't think that he should play. He played anyway. Jordan scored 38 points that night. He hit the game-winning 3 with 25 seconds left. By the end of the game, he was so drained, his teammate Scottie Pippen had to physically hold him up walking off the court. Here's the retention spike moment. For years, people assumed it really was the flu. But later reports suggest it may have been food poisoning from a late-night pizza delivery. Does it matter which one it was? Not really. What matters is this. The single most competitive human being in basketball history refused to sit out the biggest stage of his career, even when his body was shutting down. That's not a scoring record. That's a psychological one. And it raises a question for our next legend. What happens when a player has to choose between his own legacy and his team's championship in one of the very last games he'll ever play? The final day of the 1994 regular season. David Robinson needs a huge scoring game to have a shot at winning the scoring title over Shaquille O'Neal. He goes out and scores 71 points. 71 in a single game on the last day it mattered. Here's what makes this wild. Robinson wasn't known as a volume scorer. He was a two-way big man, a defensive anchor. This wasn't his identity. But on one single night, with a title on the line, he turned into a scoring machine out of nowhere. Most fans had never even heard of this game. It doesn't get replayed, it's not in many documentaries, but statistically, it's one of the most surgical, high-pressure single performances in league history. Robinson's game proves something important. Legendary games aren't always about the guy everyone expects. Sometimes it's the quiet superstar who shows up once and never needs to prove it again. Now, here's where things get interesting, because our final legend didn't just have one great game. He had one great moment inside one great game that changed how his entire career gets remembered. Game 7, 2016 NBA Finals. LeBron James' Cleveland Cavaliers are down 3-1 in the series just days earlier. Nobody comes back from that. It had never happened in finals history. LeBron finishes Game 7 with 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 11 assists. A triple-double in the biggest game of his life. But the number that matters isn't even in the box score. It's a single defensive play. With the game tied late, LeBron sprints back the length of the floor and blocks Andre Iguodala's layup at the rim. That block didn't just save a possession. It saved the championship. It ended a 52-year title drought for Cleveland. It flipped the narrative on LeBron's entire legacy. Here's the question this raises. Wilt gave us a number nobody will beat. Kobe gave us a performance nobody will forget. Jordan gave us willpower nobody can question. Robinson gave us a surprise nobody expected. But LeBron gave us something different. He gave us proof that greatness isn't about what you do. It's about what you do when everyone says it's over. So which one is actually the best? If you're grading by pure stats, it's Wilt. 100 points is a mathematical wall nobody's getting close to. But if you're grading by stakes, pressure, legacy, everything on the line, it's LeBron's Game 7. Because here's the connection you might have missed. Wilt's 100-point game happened in a half-empty gym that almost nobody remembers. LeBron's block happened in front of the entire world, and it's replayed every single June. Same sport, same goal, completely different stakes. The best career game isn't always the one with the biggest number. It's the one that mattered the most the moment it happened. And that's the real lesson here. Stats fade, moments don't. So, here's my question for you. Which one of these 5 games do you think deserves the top spot? Or is there even another game that I didn't even put in this video? Please drop your pick in the comments. I read and respond to every single one.